Willie Sandry, the thoughtful upholsterer, with you for a quick troubleshooting guide on the Consew 206RB-5. Let's say you're sewing along fine and dandy and you start to notice some little dots on the bottom of the stitches where it's not clean individual stitches. They almost look more like a line, and let's exaggerate that to make it a little bit worse. I'll really loosen up the upper tension so it almost doesn't exist, and we'll take a look at what sort of stitch quality we get on the underside. So I really start to see those loose loops there. It looks terrible. It doesn't even look like it's sewing now. Well, that's a common problem, and all you need to do is just increase your upper tension a bit. Clockwise on this knob will increase your upper thread tension, make half-turn adjustments at a time, and retest. So it looks a little bit better. We're not seeing loose loops on the bottom, but I still don't see individual defined stitches, so it needs more upper tension. And that looks just right. Now, if you're experiencing any upper thread shredding, you should check two things straight away. Number one, that your needle is big enough for the thread you're using. If the eye of the needle is too small, that just creates extra friction and will cause trouble with the upper thread. Number two, make sure your thread path goes through this needle bar thread guide. Very important to prevent that upper thread shredding. And then one final thing to check if you're getting any shredding of the thread is the check spring area. When you thread that, make sure that your thread clicks up past the check spring so that as you lift on your thread up by the take-up arm, that it actually acts on that spring. That's very important to prevent any problem with the upper thread. If you get any strange resistance, watch for odd thread snags like this. This isn't something that was threaded incorrectly. It just accidentally looped over the post an extra time and increased my passive tension. Always hold your threads back to get started, at least for a couple of stitches, but let's say you're having trouble with the material releasing from your machine. If you were just to roll your hand wheel up but not quite high enough, you might notice that it kind of snags there, and there's actually a release position for the machine that you need to be aware of. And to find that, just roll the hand wheel forward until the dot on the hand wheel aligns with the mark on the casting, which should also correspond with the take-up arm being in its top position. And now your material will easily release. Or if you really want to have an easy time of it, you can use a brushless servo like this CSM 3001. It'll always stop in the down position for me, which is great for leaving the needle down to carry around a corner and not skip that stitch. And at any time I can just heel tap and raise the needle up. Another thing that sometimes happens, if your upper thread drops down below the thread stand, it can just stop you dead. So I always recommend one of these thread socks. It really helps to manage your upper thread. Well, the 206RB-5 is really a heavy duty and one of the most reliable machines out there, but if you are having a little issue, remember, always start by rethreading the machine from top to bottom and be sure you're using the correct needle size and system. You'd be amazed how many simple problems that will fix.